so this time we discuss about, this is the second to the last, no? So absorption probability. So this time, unlike the other two calculations where we were counting the number of transitions or the number of times that you pass through a specific transient state, this time we're computing or calculating the probability of entering an absorbing state. So, which means that, okay, this is again, just as I mentioned earlier, this is your iterative formula, okay? And for you to calculate the absorption probability, again, we're talking about absorption. So you're calculating the probability that you will enter an absorbing state. Okay, so to enter an absorbing state, it's obvious that you have to come from a transient state. So here we have I and J. We're talking about I and J, where I is the source transient state and where the process will be absorbed in absorbing state J. So subscript I, so if I put it here, Aij, okay, this is the probability of entering absorbing state, absorbing state J from transient state I. Okay, so we need to be very clear that your subscript I is your transient state and your subscript J is your absorbing state. Okay, and you are calculating the probability that you are going to enter this absorbing state J coming from transient state I. So again, this small aij can actually be represented, okay, or contained in matrix A in the same way that small eij earlier was contained and calculated using matrix E, capital E. Okay? So again, it would be easier for us rather than to deal with this iterative formula, it would be easier for us to deal with matrix A. Okay? And matrix A is given by the formula R plus QA. And if you do the manipulations, putting QA on the left side, retaining R on the right side, you will be able to come up just like what you see on your PowerPoint, that your matrix A can be calculated by this formula, I minus Q inverse times R. Okay, but we know that I minus Q inverse in our previous topic is actually your matrix E. Okay, your matrix E. And therefore, okay, we just multiply matrix E by matrix R. Okay, so take note that matrix E calculates the total number of times you pass by transient state J before getting absorbed. So now, what we want to happen is to be able to calculate the probability that if you're coming from transient state J, okay, you will be absorbed, okay, or coming from transient state I, you will be absorbed in absorbing state J. So we just continued the calculation E times R. So this is now our working formula, okay, for calculating the probability of entering absorbing state J coming from transient state I. So take note, no, this is very important. Okay, for matrix A, it doesn't have to be a square matrix. Okay, especially if the number of transient states and the number of absorbing states are not the same. Okay, so if I have three transient states in my transition matrix, and if I have two absorbing states, then I will have a 3 by 2 matrix for matrix A, because the number of rows represents the number of transient states, and the number of columns represents the number of absorbing states. So again, A is not necessarily a square matrix. Okay, so now if we will continue the calculation, okay, we had matrix E earlier. Let's try to see. This is your matrix E. Okay, let's just copy that. A is equal to, your matrix E is equal to 8 over 5, and then 3 over 5. This is your matrix E, and then 4 over 5, and 9 over 5. And then your matrix R, okay, what is your matrix R? From your original transition matrix. So here, where is R? Here. This is your R. Okay, so that's 1/2, 0, 0, and 1/3. 1/2, 0, 0, and 1/3. So this is your E. This is your R. If you don't have E yet, then you can calculate E using I minus Q inverse. Okay, so since we have E already, we just copied it. So anyway, doing the multiplication, we will have 4 over 5. Let me just fix this. We have 4 over 5. Okay, again, that's easy. 8 over 5 times 1/2 plus 3 over 5 times 0. You'll get 4 over 5. And then the rest will follow. You know, matrix multiplication. 1 over 5, 2 over 5, and then 3 over 5. Okay, take note that the sum of the rows is equal to 1. Okay, because as I've said, here, this is your transient states. It so happens that for this sample problem, you have the same number of transient states as absorbing states. So this is absorbing state 3 and 4 here. So these are your absorbing states. So when you set up your, or when you solve for your matrix A, you have to make sure that you know what the elements are. On the left side, you list down your transient states, and on the right side, you, on the top row, you list down all your absorbing states, so that after you have calculated matrix A using this formula, okay, then you know that if I were to break it down, A13 is equal to 4 over 5. A14 is equal to 1 over 5. And since we're talking about probabilities, if you're coming from transient state 1, okay, there are only two ways for you to be absorbed. It's either you get absorbed in 3, absorbing state 3, or you get absorbed in absorbing state 4. Okay, so therefore, since there are only two possibilities for you to get absorbed, either in 3 and or 4, then the sum of the probabilities should be equal to 1. So A13, everything that comes from transient state 1 going to all the absorbing states should be equal to 1. Okay, or in general terms, the summation of Aij for all j okay, you add up all the absorbing states, okay, coming from a particular source should be equal to 1. And this equation is true for all transient states. So as you can see, coming from 2 going to 3, the probability is 2 over 5. And coming from 2 going to 4, the probability is 3 over 5. And the sum is 1 again. Okay, 2, 3 plus a 2, 4 is equal to 1. Okay, so again, absorption probability simply means the probability that if you're coming from a transient state, okay, the probability of getting absorbed in an absorbing state. So if we say A13 is 4 over 5, then it means that the probability that if you're coming from transient state I, transient state 1, the probability that you will be absorbed in absorbing state 3 is 80%. And if you're coming from transient state 1, the probability of being absorbed in absorbing state 4 is 20%. So if you look at the diagram, okay, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, if you look at the diagram, if you're coming from here, if you're coming from this part, transient state 1, it's more likely that you will be absorbed in 3 than in 4. Because for you to be absorbed in 4, you would have to pass through transient state 2, and transient state 2 has to go to transient state to absorbing state 4 before being absorbed. So between the two absorbing states in this diagram here, it is more likely if you are coming from transient state 1 that you are absorbed in in absorbing state 3, given the probabilities, no, given the transition matrix. Okay, because the transition probability here is 1/2, the transition probability here is just 1/3. Okay, this is bigger. Okay, so better chances of being absorbed into 3 if you're coming from 1. Okay, that's why you will see here that the probability that if you're in transient state 1 is 80% that you will be absorbed in absorbing state 3. Only 20% that you will be absorbed here in absorbing state 4. And similarly, if you look at the probability of being absorbed in absorbing state 3, if you're coming from 2, okay, transient state 2, okay, it's 40% versus 60% to be absorbed in absorbing state 4. Okay, again, same logic. If you are in 2, okay, you have a better chance that from 2, you go directly and be absorbed in 4 rather than being absorbed in 3 because you have to pass through transient state 1. Okay, so that's the meaning of absorption probability. Okay, so if you are a transient state, okay, you have several options of being absorbed, okay, or several absorbing states are waiting for you. So now you are actually able to calculate the probability of getting absorbed in each of these absorbing states. So in a problem, if I ask you, what is the probability that you will be absorbed in absorbing state J, okay, given that you're in transient state I, all you have to do is to solve for Aij. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So we move. Okay, so this is just, okay, for this sample problem in your PowerPoint, it made use, okay, as you can see here, okay, it made use, so you can just study this on your own, it made use of this iterative formula. So if you apply this formula to solve for A13, then this is actually what you will get, okay? These are the two equations that you will get to solve for A13. Take note, it's iterative in the sense that when you set up the equation for A13, you will have A23 in the equation, you will have A23 in the equation, which necessitates you to actually solve for A23 and use the same formula to set up the equation for A23. So now you'll have two equations, two unknowns. You can solve for A13 and A23, which is exactly what we got, no? 4 over 5 and 2 over 5. Okay, 4 over 5 and 2 over 5. And then to solve for A14 and A24, you simply use the uh, property that if you're coming from I and going to all the absorbing states, the probability should be equal to 1. Okay, just like what we discussed here, this one. Okay, and you will get the same 1 over 5 and 3 over 5 as your final answer. Right? So let's move. Okay. So I think the slide also made use of the calculations that we had. Okay, so this one, okay, is the same as this one, right? Then, okay, this is the last. You have conditional mean first passage time. Okay, so this one counts the number of transitions which will occur before an absorbing state is entered. Okay, so it's denoted by MIJ. Okay, again, we're talking about conditional mean passage time. So again, you will have a transient state I and an absorbing state J. And you're counting the number of periods or the number of transitions on the average that will happen before you are going to enter absorbing state J coming from transient state I. Okay, so again, the working formula, I will not write it anymore. Okay, but the working formula is this one. You don't have a matrix to work with. So this is the working formula. Of course, you know small a. Okay, small a is the absorption probability that we calculated in the previous topic, absorption probability from transient state I to absorbing state J. Of course, this one is the same. This one is your transition matrix, one step transition probability. And then this is what you are going to calculate, MIJ. Okay, this is what you're going to calculate. But in the process of calculating MIJ, you would need, just like what we had earlier, you would need MKJ, which would mean that you have to set up an equation for this in order to solve the system of equations. It will be iterative in nature. So since we already have the A's, okay, and if we want to demonstrate the calculation of M13, okay, then all you have to do is to follow this equation such that if you want to solve for M13, then you have to set up the equation A13 times M13 is equal to A13 plus the summation. Okay, see that you're going to add the products of P, A, and M. Okay, so let's enlarge this a bit. Okay, it's PIK, AKJ, MKJ, where K is not equal to J. So again, this is your I, this is your J, okay? And you will now have A13. Okay, take note, I is your transient state, J is your absorbing state. Okay, in the same way, this one is your transient state, and this one is your absorbing state. So let me just put transient. This is your absorbing. Okay, so A13 plus summation of P I K. So P1, but K should not be equal to your J. Since your J is 3, okay, then what should you have? Okay, so if you follow your formula, you would have 1, P11, okay, K is equal to 1, and then A13, okay, so that's your AKJ, and then your K is 1, and your J is 3. Okay, plus, okay, this is your summation part, no? Plus P, your I is 1 again. Your K is not equal to J, or it's not equal to 3, so you can have 2. And then A2 to 3, and then M2 to 3. The end. Okay, that's it for your first equation. Okay, because you cannot have K equal to 4. You cannot have 4 to 3. Okay, because 4 and 3 are both absorbing states. You need to have I as your transient state and J as your absorbing state. Okay, so here we know the value of A13. We know the value of A13. We know P11. We know A13. We know P12. We know A23. We don't know M13 and M23. So therefore, since we're solving for M13, we need M23, the equation for M23. So to set up the equation for M23, we need to do A23, M23 equal to, okay, A23 following the same formula where this is your I, this is your J, plus the summation where you have PIK, AKJ, MKJ. So P, this time your I is 2, okay? Your K can be 1 or 2, so P21, A1J, AKJ, and then MKJ, plus P, your I is 2, PIK, your K could be 2, then 2, 3, then M2, 3. Okay, so take note for your second equation, you know this, you know this. By the way, A23, A13 are found, can be found in matrix A. Okay, so A13, A23 are all found in matrix A. So you know P21, A13, you know P22, A23. This time you have M13 here and M23. So I think that's good enough. We have two equations, two unknowns. You have to solve for M13 and M23. Okay, and then you substitute all the values, those with check, you substitute the values. When you substitute the values, this is what you will get. Okay, when you substitute the values, this is the system of equations that you will get. Okay, and then you solve for M13, it will give you 1.9 weeks, and M23, it will give you 3.4 weeks. Okay, so basically, this is what we're looking for. Okay, and it's telling us that uh, the average number of, again, based on the definition, the average number of transitions that will happen, okay, before you enter absorbing state 3 coming from transient state 1 is around 1.9 transitions or 1.9 periods. Okay, so, and for M23, if you're coming from transient state 2, it would take you an average of 3.4 transitions before being absorbed in absorbing state 3. And we go back to this diagram, no? We go back to this diagram. If you are in here in transient state 1, okay, it takes you around 2 transitions before getting here. But if you're in transient state 2, it takes you more transitions before you actually get to be absorbed in 3. Okay, on the average, it gets you around 3 to 4 transitions before you get there. Okay, so if there are no questions, then that actually wraps up all the computational aspects for Markov theory. So what I want is for you to listen to this recorded lecture, okay, familiarize with all the computational formulas, okay, and understand the meaning and the difference of each of the items that we are computing, both for ergodic and for absorbing Markov chains. Okay, so that if a question is asked in the problem set or in the exam, you know exactly what you are supposed to be computing. Okay,